I've been at Thomas Fogarty Winery. I've been making Pinot Noir up there, growing Pinot Noir up there since 1983. And I also buy some Pinot Noir from the other sub-appellations. I've been buying Pinot Noir from the Summit area, from the Corralitos area, and a little bit out of the Los Gatos area. The areas are different, and Pinot Noir really does express the differences. And Pinot Noir is a very expressive grape, and I think one of the most overriding expressions is clone. So it makes it kind of confusing to taste these wines and just say that represents this area and that wine represents that area. I have found that, like my Martini clone is more similar to the Martini clone grown in Reagan's vineyard than would be my one of my Dijon clones grown on my own property. Well, before I get to our vineyard, we have a list of the vineyards in the Skyline area. And in my mind, I kind of like to almost divide up between bottom Skyline and top Skyline. It's a sub-region of the sub-region. Where we're at, we're about 2,000 feet. And I think that's different than what you find down in Kings Mountain, Woodside and Woodside Town. And there's also in that elevation, that area, there's some other wineries and properties that are not listed I think are very significant as well. And that would be the Varner Vineyard, which is also what I would consider the lower area. And then up on top, that's not listed here, really two significant vineyards, is the Reese property and Clos de la Tech. Those two properties represent about $100 million in investment in winery and Pinot Noir. Just incredible stuff going on there. At Thomas Fogarty, we planted the vineyards in 83, and we planted mostly Martini clone. And we also planted them kind of based upon what UC Davis was suggesting at that time. And we've learned since then that UC Davis was way behind the curve as far as cold climate viticulture. It wasn't until Oregon started planting Pinot Noir, and they started hosting international cold climate viticulture symposiums, that we learned that everything we did was really not the best way to do it. But one thing that we do have that I think was a stroke of luck was planting a heritage clone, Martini, which I think is great for that area. They make powerful wines, and I've had to really kind of learn to tone the wines down. I think if there would be a criticism of the wines, they can be too over the top. And the other thing I think was really smart of us is not change over to the Dijon clones, which became popular some 10 years ago, and they seem to be the rage. Because I think I like the Martini clone, and the other advantage is my vines are really getting some age in them now. So they're like 25 years old. So I think the age of the vines are really starting to show themselves in the wines. So the wine I brought today is our 07 Rapley Trail Pinot Noir Block B. The wines are driven so much by the weather conditions from year to year, seasonal conditions. And what really two striking vintages back to back for me was 05 and 06. 05 we got, like, instead of having 30 barrels of estate Chardonnay, I had 3. And in 06, that was 05, in 06 I had just the opposite condition. And I had cut off half the crop, and I still got 3.5 tons an acre. And it produced really big berries, so it made really kind of a more feminine style wine, which was really beautiful wine, but not like what we had been making. So in 06, we blended everything together and just made one wine. The 07 vintage was, well, I think, was one of our best vintages. I think it's probably one of the better vintages in California, if not the best vintage in California for a long time. And Rapley Trail is one of the 3 vineyards that we have that are estate vineyards. And Rapley Trail is about 1,600 feet in elevation and about 5 acres. And what I've learned about that vineyard is I used to pick it all at once. I used to take an average of the vineyard, pick it all at once. I've learned that now I pick it just as the grapes get ripe. I pick the first 12 vines at the bottom of the, not vines, but 12 rows at the bottom of the vineyard. I keep it separate. And then I pick the next 15, maybe 3 to 4 days later as they get riper. So at the end of picking that one vineyard, I'll have 5 to 8 different lots of wine from the same vineyard. In good vintages like 07, I take the very best of what I call the middle lot, which was Block M. We're not real creative in the names. Block M, I make a Block B too, and guess where that's from? You know, it's the bottom. Block M, is more in the middle. And that's the one I wanted to share with you today. There's a lot of microclimates just in that little 5-acre vineyard. We have another vineyard like 200 feet in elevation higher that is like ripens 3 to 4 weeks later. And we're pouring that wine out for the tasting later today. And it's totally different than the one you have before you. But Block M also of that Rapley Trail kind of expresses what I think a little bit more of the minerality, a little bit more of the soil than Block B. Block B, the soil is a little deeper, and you get more fruit component. The middle area, you get a little bit more refinement, a little bit more minerality in the wine in Block M. And I think it kind of represents the Skyline area very well. As the wines get older, so I had an 88 Fogarty Pinot Noir. It's like all, like oak regiment you do, and to some degree how you make the wine, and maybe a little bit degree to the clone, all that drops away. And what you're left with is really kind of the essence of your terroir of that area, without all those winemaker influences. And what comes across in that wine in 88 was really this kind of truffle funk that was really kind of interesting and had a little acidity to it that really made it delicious with the fabulous lamb I had. So.